right, welcome in. It's game day, week 1 of the preseason. Jets versus the Manders going on 12 o'clock today. I'm really excited. I'll do my every throw video for the starter. I believe it's going to be 𝐂𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢 Taylor, as well as some of the starters as well. Some of the things we're most excited to pay attention to for this game. So if you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button, you'll get those videos as I put them out. But we're going to go over 5 topics today that I think is a reason to be watching this game, because a lot of people don't necessarily want to sit back and watch the preseason game. But I know the diehards that are in here, you guys are looking forward to doing it, so I am looking forward to talking to you all. So I'm going to do my little monologue for a minute. Then we'll jump into some phone calls, get some answers from you guys, things that you guys want to hear based on what I've put out there, my five things. But before we do, I just want to say thank you to BetUS, sponsoring the channel. They've got some good bets over on their site, link in the description down below. I think Nightbot should be spitting it out in the chat as well. But they got Aaron Rodgers plus 160 to get 30 touchdowns this year. I think this is something that you should be going in on. Now, he's had 2 seasons of 30-plus touchdowns since 2017, so it doesn't sound like a whole lot. But remember, Nathaniel Hackett's our offensive coordinator. Not that gives you always the warm and fuzzies, but he had it back-to-back years with Nathaniel Hackett over in Green Bay. So I think with a fully healthy season here, 30 touchdowns is totally attainable. The weapons here are so much stronger than they were post his MVP runs. So I'm looking forward to this one. If you guys want to check out my 5 favorite season-long bets, I actually have them linked in the description down below. But BetUS is going to be sponsoring this pregame stream, Q&A, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. Now let's go into my 5 topics. Now, I think the first one that everyone's going to be taking a big look at today is the whole situation surrounding our center, Joe Tippmann, and how is he going to be snapping the ball. I will be putting out a video every snap of Joe Tippmann, so if you guys are interested in that, you don't have time to watch the actual game, come back, you'll see that on the channel. But we're going to take a look, see if he can get that snap under control, primarily in the shotgun. This is an issue that he's been dealing with for over a year now. Now, we're being kind of more notified of it right now because we don't have Connor McGovern on the roster. Last year, McGovern was the starter at center, and we didn't really see Tippmann other than training camp until about halfway through the season when he took over the center role. And he had some struggles, had some snaps that they don't always have to go over your head to be a bad snap. Getting your quarterback to take his eyes off the defense or anything like that for even a split second is going to be absolutely critical. And our quarterback is not the spring chicken he used to be. 40 years old, you got to be able to protect your quarterback, and if he's not getting the ball out as fast, you are going to be less effective as an offense, let alone the turnovers that you could potentially cause. That bad snap in the green and white scrimmage, that happened inside the 10-yard line. You cannot have that happen. No extra drives for the other team's offense. Cannot have that. So Joe Tippmann, his starting presence, the snapping, how is he going to look? I am curious to see how the entirety of the offensive line looks as a whole, which I guess I'll get to right now. The next thing I want to talk about, the running backs, the offensive line. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen who the starters are for today's offensive line, but I'd imagine there's going to be a little bit of rest for like Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and you're going to see more of Fashanu, more of Carter Warren, and that's what I really want to see. Some of these young guns. Like I know what Moses can bring. I know what Tyron Smith can bring. I'm not overly concerned with that. Give me the young guys. I would love to see AVT out there. Make sure he gets some good reps in live action. He's had a little bit of the uh-ohs in terms of penalties, false starts in camp. He got booted from the third drive in the green and white scrimmage because of a false start. So I want to see how he has healed post-Achilles injury. And then obviously you got John Simpson as well. Now the running back side of things, I'm very, very much excited for, because it's hard to tell in training camp how good these guys are. And Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis look like they're both going to be really good. But like I said, in training camp, you're not really practicing, like you're not hitting as hard as you're going to hit. You'll get some of these guys, occasionally, but I feel like it's tough to like really navigate. Did that guy break out of a tackle, or was it just the defense letting up because it's your guy? The play is over. You're not taking him to the ground necessarily. So very much looking forward to how the Commanders have an answer for the Jets running game, especially because I don't think Breece is going to play. I wouldn't play Breece at least. Put him on ice. Although like Breece, Garrett, obviously Rodgers isn't playing, but all the guys are good, don't put him out there. I want to see all the question marks. Running backs, offensive line, going to be a big, big question mark for me in a good way, because I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. So very much excited for the offensive line. On the defensive side of things, Will McDonald getting a little bit extra work with no Hassan Reddick. I expect to see him early and often, not necessarily as the starter. We've seen Michael Clemens taking a lot of the reps opposite Jermaine Johnson on that defensive line, but it would be very, very cool to see these edge rush opportunities, 3rd down and long, 2nd down and long. Let's get Will McDonald in there and see what he can do. He's starting to get that little bit more of an explosion going through his defender as opposed to trying to get all the way around his defender. Let's see how it plays out in live action. We beat up the Commanders a little bit the other day. A little smack around in the joint practice. I want to see the same thing today. Same thing today. So Will McDonald, how does he respond to being the starter / all eyes on you kind of edge rusher? Wide receiver Malachi Corley. How are they going to deploy him? He was listed as number 3 in the punt return, kick return area. Is that going to be the same thing that holds true throughout the entirety of this game? Is he going to see a lot of starting reps? Are we going to see Gibson in there? I don't know how Gibson's doing as far as a health perspective. He was down lower leg injury for a little bit. But how do they deploy Malachi Corley? Are they going to move him into the backfield like we've seen throughout training camp? Are they going to keep him primarily out as wide receiver? Very excited to see what Corley can do against some live action here because I expect Garrett's probably not going to be playing. And then on the defensive backside, Stiggers, this guy, if he can wind up being the heir apparent to DJ Reed, this would be absolutely incredible. Just a home run steal. He's been so talented and so incredibly fun to watch in training camp. The presence of mind to get in front of the receiver, like he just understands body leverage. I would like to see how this guy performs in live action. Because, man, if you have that, right now, preemptively, like thinking about next year's draft positions that might be of critical importance. We don't have Michael Carter II under contract. We don't have DJ Reed under contract. We don't have Brandon Echols under contract. So I think corner is going to be a major area of concern this offseason. So from a logistical team perspective, Stiggers has depth for this year and having the ability to possibly be a guy like main contributor moving forward. If everything we're seeing in training camp is as advertised in actual live game footage, I'm very, very excited to see what we get out of Stiggers in today's practice. One thing I didn't put on here that I do think is also critical is who is calling plays. I haven't seen that reported yet, but during the green and white scrimmage, Todd Downing was calling plays while Nate Hackett was calling some of the red zone plays. So I want to keep an eye on who is calling the plays at which particular time, because I think that's going to be interesting to see how they've delegated play calling responsibilities. We were looking for offensive help earlier in the offseason. Said we might be looking to bring in some type of play calling assistant or offensive senior assistant or something along those lines. Downing calling some plays, taking a little bit of the responsibility away from Hackett. Hackett had the responsibilities in Green Bay to call plays in the red zone. Maybe that's where they kind of go. J-E-T-S-J!